Judges sentenced former media tycoon Jimmy Lai to 20 years in prison. Lai was one of the first prominent figures to be arrested under a China-imposed national security law that has virtually silenced Hong Kong's dissent. Now President Trump is asking Chinese leader Xi Jinping to consider Lai's release. Our Britt Clennett is in Hong Kong with more on that. Hi, Britt.
Hi, Diane. Well, I'm just standing outside a Hong Kong court which sentenced pro-democracy tycoon Jimmy Lai to 20 years behind bars. That's the harshest sentence we have seen for national security offences since Beijing introduced the draconian law in 2020. Now, Lai was expressionless for most of the time while he was in court. We saw his wife cry, fighting back tears as she was leaving the courthouse. We know that Lai, who's also a UK citizen, he's 78 years old, and his son Sebastien has always been worried that he would die in prison. And given his age and given this harsh sentence, there's now a big reality that that actually might happen. The court here, it was a tense morning with a very heavy police presence. It was hard for journalists to interview some of the supporters outside, which had been lining up, some of them, and camped out outside the court overnight. We know that President Trump said he has asked Chinese President Xi to consider Lai's release, and given Trump's trip planned in April to China, one of the big questions is whether China will appease him on this. Diane.
Britt Clennett, thank you. And Jimmy Lai's son, Sebastien Lai, is here for more on his father's sentencing. Sebastien, thank you for joining us. I know it's a difficult time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So your father's case dragged on for 5 years, and now you say it was a show trial. Why?
Oh, it's not just me. It's multiple bar associations against all over the world, multiple chief justices. Look, we have a situation where there's 3 national security law judges appointed by the government. There's no jury, and there's allegations of witnesses being tortured. So incredibly problematic. And as you said, it's dragged on for 5 years, but being delayed multiple times, finally starting in 2023. And we just now got the sentencing. So it's a textbook show trial. It makes a farce out of the Hong Kong legal system.
You say you haven't been able to speak to your father in those 5 years. What about the rest of your family? How are they reacting to this sentence, and what have you heard about how your dad's doing?
Yeah, so because I advocate on his behalf, I can't go back to Hong Kong, so I haven't seen him in the last 5 years. Obviously, you know, we all expected it, but it's still devastating. And I think one of the sort of bittersweet moments was when it was announced in front of his sentence was announced, and I heard that in court. My father was stoic, and my father even managed to flash a smile because he didn't want to give in to those bullies, to those horrible people who are doing these things to him. So you know, he's still strong of spirit, strong of faith. But his health has obviously gotten much worse. Look, it's completely expected. If you put a 78-year-old man in solitary confinement, he's been in solitary confinement for the last 5 years. He's been kept in absolutely horrible conditions, no natural light. You know, obviously now he has heart issues. He's lost 10 kilos over the last year alone. It's tremendously heartbreaking.
President Trump has said he felt so badly about the verdict against your father that he brought up the case directly with President Xi. Trump's also expected to meet with Xi in China in April. Will you reach out to the White House ahead of that visit?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're so incredibly grateful for the president and for many people in the U.S. For their continued support. Obviously, the president's support is paramount in getting my father free. As you know, he's got an incredible track record in freeing people around the world. You know, he said that he raised the case to Xi Jinping. He said that this is a matter that he cares a lot about, and so. You know, just from the bottom of my heart, I'm so incredibly grateful for him.
What's your message to President Trump right now?
That this is about not just freeing my father, but it's about saving his life. I mean, here you have a man in Hong Kong who, you know, for the last 30 years campaigned for democracy, but essentially gave everything that he has to stand up for freedom. I think most people listening to this think that, I mean, having given everything away doesn't he deserve a bit of freedom himself? You
live in the UK. Your father is a British citizen, And Prime Minister Keir Starmer met with Xi at the end of January despite this ongoing case. Do you think the British government should be doing more?
Yeah, obviously, I wish the British government was doing more. Again, time is running out for my father, so 100% I do. And I think, look, we're talking about, I think the phrase that the British government uses is closer relationship with China, normalization of relationship. Well, what's happening to my father is can never be normalized. I mean, this is a man who gives everything he has for the freedoms of that holds this nation together and many nations around the world together. And he's essentially being tortured for it. And if Hong Kong and China aren't even willing to put a 78-year-old man on a plane and send him over here, especially after having had him in there for 5 years, destroyed his health, taken his business away, well, that says all you need to know about the relationship.
And you've said your father will be a martyr if he dies in prison. Tell me more about that. Why?
Oh, of course. I mean, look, you don't hear that many stories like my father's. And when people do something as courageous as him, campaign for democracy for 30 years, and at his old age of 72 decides to stay and defend his principles and defend his colleagues, people think of these men as men that have no fear. As a son, I could tell you that's not true. My father fears the same way as me and you do. Fears dying alone, fears never seeing his family again. But I think what makes my father so special, what makes men like him so special, is that he refuses to be intimidated by fear. That he knows that what he's doing is the right thing, and at every turn, he does what is right, no matter the personal consequences to him. I mean, that's inspirational for many people around the world, and that's why, for many people, he's a hero.
All right, Sebastien Lai, we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.